Welcome, everyone. Dr. Eddie is joining me again today. We're grateful to have you here. So we have a few questions. I'm going to put the first one in answered because then I think you can see it.
Okay.
Done. Otherwise, I don't think you can see it. Okay, betrayed partner here. My 6-month sober SA partner of 25 years of acting out has been working with an app sets, as am I, and is attending 12-step meetings. Who has a sponsor, is helping him work with the steps. He's making great progress in so many areas, but struggles with shutting down when it comes up against my pain. Disclosure is in a few months, and I know my pain will be on full display then. I've been fairly regulated lately, so there haven't been a lot of opportunities for him to practice with me. He says he's fine in his meetings, and I know he tries with me, but I wonder if there are exercises he can use or practice so he can stay present when things get tough. Is there an
Yeah.
episode we can watch that addresses this? If not, please consider doing one dedicated specifically to helping SA partners learn exactly how to build their shame resilience. I should note
Yeah,
he's working full time, blah, blah, blah. So, okay.
right. It's interesting you bring that up because I'm actually thinking about it today. What you're talking about, it was an episode about the pain field.
I
I
was
created a
thinking the same one. I'll
metaphor,
pull
right? You
that.
thinking the same thing, right? And
Yeah.
and actually what I did was in my group for Why Men Struggle to Love, I walked them through the pain field that we put together. Um, Go there. I mean, for him to go there and see that and listen to that webinar, I think would be very, very helpful. Because there are examples of, okay, what is her real pain point? See, the problem he's having is that when you're trying to, talk about, display your pain, for him, he's allowing his emotion to get out of, control. He dysregulated emotions. And if he's dysregulated emotionally, he's not going to be able to be there for you. So therefore, what he needs to do is be able to and one thing he should be doing is focusing on how to emotionally regulate himself. There's a show we did about that. There's a couple of them. They weren't that long ago. And I actually have a worksheet of 20 different techniques that you can utilize to help yourself learn to emotionally regulate. And so if you email me at innerchildmodel@gmail.com, I'll be happy to send those. But he needs to be able to learn to regulate in that moment. So even if you're in a pain moment and you want to make sure they're there for you, to say to him, you know what, go take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, get regulated and come back. Because you have to be able to put his pain aside and you have to look for your pain. And that's the key for the men to be able to spend the energy and to focus to say, what is her pain point? And if he does that, then he's going to be able to stay there with you. Now, he'll be able to stay there for a certain amount of time because it's not unusual. Dr. John Gottman talked about it. Men, what happens is we get overwhelmed and we get what you call flooded. And what, we just, our bandwidth is zapped. So what we need to do is take a break to go again, recalibrate, replenish ourselves so that we are now once again emotionally regulated so that we can sit there with you. So I don't know if he gets hyper dysregulated or if he gets hypo dysregulated, more withdrawing and such, but he has to be able to get to a point where he understands, okay, this is where I need to be. I need to be in my window of tolerance. I need to have this sense of homeostasis, of balance right now, so that I can be here for you. I love the fact he's doing his work. He seemed to be very engaged with all of that. That's wonderful. This is not an uncommon problem. 9 out of 10 men deal with this. Again, he's partly part of the problem is the fact that he's emotionally underdeveloped. When we do the Why Men Struggle to Love course again in January, I would recommend that he sign up for that.
I do too. I'm throwing everything you're talking about into the
I can see you out of the corner of my
into the
eye.
chat.
You're just busy
Yes.
typing, typing.
Yes. Well, I did a hit list of, and it sounds like I'm on the mob, but I'm not. But
Oh,
like I did
right.
like, like really popular, important webinars that I was recommending over and over again. And there's a number of Dr. Eddies that are on my list. I quote the one that you shared, about Dr. Gabor Mate of "You Can't Make It Unhappen." Like, I love
Right.
that one because it's like, focusing on the past and all of that. Anyway, but this one I was like, oh, I know that one's on there. So I did pull the link to the specific video. Then I put the link
Good.
for all of the webinars so you can go find more. Then I put Dr. Eddie's, email address in there. And then I put the work group, the list. And there are more work groups. I just put the
Yeah.
general one in. I was thinking, this is 6 months in, so this is very early in the process. You are identifying that he's doing well and that you've got support. I'm really glad to hear that. I'm super happy to hear that you have support, and that you're here. So that's great. And you've got support outside each other. So
Right.
yes, him being able to not make things worse at least is good. But
Hmm.
you guys leaning into each other, like it's going to be challenging, and you're going to practice and you're going to do it better sometimes than others. And hopefully you're learning along those ways. But I hear that you have hope because you're seeing that he's actually doing the work, and that's great. So keep leaning in,
Excellent.
lots of resources for you along this way.
Can we take a moment to
Mhm.
go to a question that we was asked when we did our um, betrayal trauma inner child work
Which number would you like me to
presentation?
read?
I don't know what number it was, but it was about the Pia Melody, and the
Oh,
question was, how is her
um,
inner child program different than my inner child model?
yeah, and
That
I
that was
don't
the
know if I typed
question.
that one. Yeah,
Okay, well
it was,
that's
yeah.
right.
So go ahead and
That
talk
was the
about that.
question. And so anyway, I said, I answered, I said, I don't know. I'm not familiar with a program, but I did some research on it. And basically, there's just basically two differences. The first difference is that with Pia, her model had the child, the inner child, as both positive, a child that's healthy, a child that well, have been nurtured the way they should. And then she has the child who's unhealthy, okay, who's gotten the trauma, the emotional neglect. In my model, there's just the one child, the child who's been wounded. Okay, I don't have the healthy child. Um, the other aspect of it is the fact that she has there's one inner child. My model, what I've done is I've identified for the betrayers 12 unique emotional pain point that we suffer as a child. And those all turned into individual children, such as the unaffirmed child, unnoticed, bored, etc., etc. And with the betrayed partners, there were 10. So she only had the one. My program kind of lays out. These are the most common issues you probably face growing up that ultimately led to issues that you're dealing with today, but you're just not aware of those. So that's basically the difference in it because she also thinks that, what you have to do is you have to go in, determine what are the wounds that child has, help that child to, be re-nurtured, reparented, and then be able to come out with higher self-worth and self-esteem. So it's not very different in that way. There's certain elements that I have in my program, which I'm not going to go over now. You can go back and look at. We've done numerous programs on the inner child, but those are basically the big differences.
Thanks for doing the research on that.
Right.
Okay, so then next question, stay in the answered, and then we're going to flip to the open. But I'm exhausted. We've been at this 12 years, and is continuing to lie. What am I looking for in order to keep at this?
There's
12
lots of, but
years.
12 years he continues to lie. And what are you looking for in order to keep this going? What should you have hope in? I guess you're asking, right? Well, I guess, again, there's very little detail there, but how beyond the lying, which again, the lying is a major issue, okay? Beyond his lying, what behaviors are you seeing? Are you seeing things that are positive? Are you seeing things that are changing? You seeing things that are going in the right direction? Again, what he might be dealing with when it comes to the lying is, again, his compulsiveness is not under control. And so therefore, again, he just reacts without thinking. Does he sometimes lie, but then he'll stop himself at some point or come back to you and say, hey, you know what, that wasn't true. If that's happening, which I don't know if it is or not, but if it were to be happening, well, that would be a good thing. That's positive. So again, I need some more information about this, but again, if you're looking, the question was, what should I hang my hat on? It would be that there are other things that you're seeing that are very, very positive. Right. However, the lying is, as you well know, a very serious offense and it needs to be repaired. And I would, if I'm him, I'm working, especially 12 years. Okay. So, but that tells me maybe he haven't worked on that lying with somebody in a very deep way so that he can develop the tools that are necessary because that's what that comes down to again. That's all about anxiety. He's probably been lying his whole life. He probably started when he was very young because he figured this is the way I avoid trouble, I avoid consequences, or many times I lie because I'm just afraid I'm going to say something that's going to be the wrong thing. He has to learn again to regulate himself, regulate emotions so that he can stay in, as I was discussing before, that window of tolerance that place where again he's feeling more relaxed. So that's where I go right now with that.
And I put the boundaries work group in because what I hear is you're exhausted. And I suspect he's not that exhausted. I suspect you're way more at this, as you say, that you're working harder and trying to make this all work than he is. And that would be lopsided so I go to no addict changes until the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same. You've been at this 12 years. He's figured out how to float. You're paddling like crazy. He's floating. There hasn't been enough, consequence yet for him. And I'm not saying I'm just sharing. You wrote a sentence or two sentences. But I'm going like, if he can get away with doing the very minimal of like whatever he's doing or not doing, but 12 years, oh my gosh, like, but someone who's really doing the recovery work would be in amazing recovery by this point. You would see this interwoven in all areas of our life.
Mm.
And yeah, the constant lying, that would be, a problem. Unless, like, as Dr. Eddie said, you see, well, there's areas, but that still feels compartmentalized. If he's, well, look over here, and look over here because I'm doing good here, even though I'm doing not good over here. So
Mhm.
I would invite you. Debbie Allen did a webinar in June of 2023 on the three circles for partners, and to watch that. I haven't watched it in a while, but she talked about if with the inner circle for partners can be that I'm focused too much on, what he's doing. And John Taylor last week did one, and I quoted him a whole bunch of times, and that one is posted. Self-focus and self-care for partners. It like you can be hurting yourself in your healing journey by over focusing on the addict partner. So check that one out. That one is posted and that link is shared. So
Do you have like every webinar that all of us have
isn't
done
that it?
cataloged in your head?
uh Not 100%. That's why I made a hit list. But yeah, that's what happened. I was absolutely, I knew I know 9 of 23. You did the one with Dr. Gabor Mate. I can, 2 of 7 of 24. We did the 12 steps. Yes, those are weird details.
There's gotta be what, 10 of us, 12 of us that do these webinars?
There's
I mean,
1,300 webinars, and I
1,300
don't know every
webinars.
single one, but yes, and but yes, it is. It is. I will say it is one
Yeah,
of the things I
it's
do
a
well
gift.
with.
It's a gift.
Thank you. I'll take it as a gift. So otherwise, it's just a weird thing. So, okay. So now go to open. After reading your books, what else do you recommend for a porn addict to dig deeper into childhood and discover and heal from childhood traumas?
Yes, a good question because you know what? Just reading the book isn't usually enough. I mean, for some people, I mean, again, if they're really good at putting together dots and connecting things, it helps them. I mean, what I would be doing, again, we have the group, the Why Men Go to Love group that's there. Um, the workshop, that's what we have. There are the groups that are out there, but also I would really consider working with the people who have been trained. We've trained over 100 people to, work with those individuals who want to, do inner child work. So again, you can send me an email at innerchildmodel@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send you a referral for that.
So, betrayed partner here, 9 months since D-Day with formal therapeutic disclosure. Oh, I don't know who this is.
Okay. What was that?
I
Somebody
don't,
came in the
there's
room?
somebody popped in under the Seeking Integrity platform. So
Oh,
I don't know.
oh, hello.
Tammy, I'm sorry, it might be me. I thought I was in under my own. It's Susan.
Hi, Susan. It's nice to
I'll,
see you. And yes, you're on a live webinar. So,
I'll go out. I'll come
all
back in.
right, bye.
Sorry.
Goodbye, Steve.
You can't script this stuff. Okay, so let's go
Okay,
back to this.
let's do it.
Betrayed partner here, 9 months since D-Day with formal therapeutic disclosure and impact letter both shared. I'm finding my husband still doesn't understand the full impact and has been towing the line with boundaries. After he violated the second boundary last week, I've asked for an in-home therapeutic separation. How can I measure his progress over the next 90 days? Shame and lack of self-awareness are major areas of concern. Guess what? We
Uh,
have a webinar on therapeutic separation. I'm going to
well,
go pull that one and share it with you
yeah,
too.
okay, you got that. And we also have the boundaries one to go
Oh
and
yeah, we
talk
have
about
lots of
more
those. So yeah.
with that. All right, so you did your impact letter. What I require of men who work with me is that that letter is something that they read at least once a week. To make them go through and highlight all of the various emotions that the partner had outlined in that letter. And then I spend time with them, or I tell them to spend time thinking about those emotions, thinking about what would it be like if they were the ones who had to go through all of this. See, again, your husband, he may not be a bad man, okay? Most likely, again, he's emotionally underdeveloped. And so therefore he takes stuff in, and it goes over here. Because again, his view of the world is this. You guys have seen me talk about that, right? And what's in this world that he has and has always had are the things that he likes, are the things that he worries about, are the things that, that he's fearful of. Okay, how can I keep them out? Right? And he needs to be able to open up that window more so that he can see, oh my gosh, you know what? My wife, what she's telling me she needs is not something I can just say, and do it a couple times and be done. No, I need to transform opening my window to be able to look out and say, okay, this is what's troubling her. these different things, and I have to commit my life now to doing these in order to make her feel safe. And making her feel safe isn't, okay, today's Thursday, you feel safe? Yes, I feel safe. Good. And you just move on to your work. It is a 24/7 job. And many of these men, again, what you're talking about, this is a big problem. This is a big problem. But you know what? I was thinking about this the other day, Tammy, or no, not the other day, last month when I'm, I've been on this idea that, emotional, regulation is recovery. And the reason is just because of this, all right? We, and when I say we, I'm talking about the industry, right? Especially the betrayal trauma industry. He has to learn to be, attuned. He has to learn how to have empathy. He has to learn how to sit with the hard conversations. He has to learn how to adhere to boundaries. Okay. And so what do? We have all these different programs and we have all these skills and we have all these brilliant ideas that many leaders have come up with. And we feed it to them and we feed it to them and we feed it to them. And they got all this information. You know what they don't have? They don't have the ability to implement it. Why don't they have the ability to implement it? Because they can't emotionally regulate. If I'm not emotionally regulated, I am emotionally regulated right now, although it may not look like that. But if you can't emotionally regulate, you're not going to be able to take on the emotions that other people are trying to share with you. You're not going to be attuned to what they need. And that's why emotional regulation is recovery in my estimation. And that's what he needs to do more of that. He has to be educated by the fact that he is still in that boy-minded frame. Okay? That's where he is. He's a teenager in a man's body. And he's only thinking about what's the next thing to do that he's thinking about. Because I took care of you, right? You should be good now and go off, which is maybe what his parents did to him. I don't know. He needs to be able to, the word is the key word, invest. He must learn to invest in you and your family and your marriage. He doesn't know how to invest. And then listen to what I just said. He doesn't know how. He can't give you what he doesn't have. And therefore he needs to learn that. But more importantly, he has to learn to regulate. So therefore his windows open wider and he sees everything that's around him, especially you and what you need versus this.
So this pretty smart guy I know often says, slow everything
Everything
down.
down. Oh, well, that's interesting. I
I
might use
know.
that.
Well, I
I might
know.
use that.
Yeah. Anyway, so Dr. Eddie says that often, and I was thinking while Dr. Eddie was talking, and I get as passionate as he does about this stuff, but slow everything down. Because you kind of said, yeah, it's Thursday, you're good. Okay, I'm off to the next thing, and it's like, okay, it's Thursday, you're good. If I'm invested, and I'm going like, oh, what's going right? I'm paying attention to not just like, oh, things are kind of okay. It's like, what is going right now? How did we get to this? Things are okay right now. Let's look at that, so that we're
Yeah.
analyzing not just what's wrong, but if we're analyzing what are we doing that's helping, I
Right.
can do more of those things because it is emotionally regulated, and people can get a whole lot of head knowledge and have, read the books and
Yeah.
not be able to implement it because they're not
Yeah.
regulated, but they also haven't practiced using this, or if they try it once and they didn't do it perfectly, and then they go,
Mm.
well, I can't do that, so it's
Yeah.
slow it down, practice, understand it's a journey. You won't do it completely right on either side. And if we're
Hmm.
paying attention and we're going like, well, that was better, like I think that was in a positive direction. Let's try whatever. Great,
Right. I am far from being the fully emotionally developed man. I'm not. Because I really believe, again, I've talked about this. We start on this end of the spectrum, and that's like the far end of the spectrum. We move about here, and that looked pretty good. That, but I'll say this: the one area that I really have focused on is investing in my wife. Really thinking about what does she need? What does she want? Do I mess up something? Yes, I do. But for the most part, she knows that I am always like kind of one step ahead of her of what she might need from me and thinking of that. And that's what we need to do. And that's why again, being sober is not enough. It's not enough. And that's why we go back to the book, Why Men Struggle to Love.
I bet you're also um, safe for her to come. Like if she needs something and you didn't get the radar quite right, you're safe enough that she can come to you and go, I really need this. And and you won't falter for that. You'll be able to step up.
Most of the time.
Okay, most
Okay,
of the time.
I'm gonna be
Yeah,
honest,
no, I
okay?
appreciate it.
If she catches me and I'm drained mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and said, you know what? I need this. It's like I gave you this, and this. What slow down. Okay. When do you need that by, honey? What I mean, do you need it right now? Can you God give it to you? I start to be curious and ask the question. So, but no,
But
I
you
have my
slowed
moment.
everything down. You didn't react and say, you can't expect, and now listen to this. So those of you that are new into this, like this is with a lot of work and a lot of practice and a lot of intention and a lot of investment. So realistic expectations, can
Yes.
you get there? Absolutely. Is it going to
Mhm.
happen magically overnight? Not a chance.
No. I mean, I'm the guy who wrote the book. Okay. I mean, I was talking to a client the other day and I was telling him about, one of the things that I just don't do well. And I said to him, I go, well, you know what? I wonder if you're sitting here wondering, why am I with this guy who still can't get that right? And I go, because I get a lot of it right.
Yeah.
Okay. I get a lot of it right,
Yeah.
especially again, for somebody who has an attachment wound and somebody who has a compulsive disorder. That's what it is. If I didn't have those, well, then I would probably be getting it all. So,
And I'm going to disagree because you probably wouldn't have to work as hard on it. And there's a lot of people who aren't in this
sure.
world and trying.
You're right.
So you're extra motivated to do it. So
Yeah,
so I'm
you're
not
right.
sure. Okay, so the
Okay.
next question: betrayed partner. How can he learn to self-regulate when he doesn't even recognize that he is dysregulated?
Great question. And if
It
you
is a great question.
go back to the webinar I did about emotional dysregulation, because it's one of the things I talked about, the idea that one of the issues is that most men don't know what emotional dysregulation is. They think it's like, oh, I'm up here and blah, 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 and that means I'm emotionally dysregulated. And it's like, no, emotional dysregulation has many different looks and feels and tonalities. All right, there's many. You could be hyper, you could be hypo. All right, being bored can be emotionally dysregulated depending on what you wind up doing with it. So yes, he needs to learn, and it's in there. And actually, there was an article I wrote about it too. So if you go to sexuallypuremen.com, you'll be able to find that article there. With that. But yes, you need to do that. But then what has to happen is, and I encourage men to spend 15 minutes, morning, afternoon, evening, at least 3 times a day, maybe more, working on some of those 20 different emotional regulation techniques that I uncovered. I didn't come up with the techniques. I just did the research to put them together and send them out. So again, if you're looking for a copy, you just have to email me that. But that's a great
Yes, and
question. You're
I'll
absolutely right.
find that webinar in a minute, but I want to ask the next
Okay.
question before I go digging. That one I didn't find in my hit list yet. So we're coming back together well, I think. I am the sex addict. We have not become fully sexual yet, but I realize that I know nothing about sexual intimacy. Sex is sex and intimacy is intimacy. How can we learn together how to be sexually intimate
That
together?
again, a wonderful question. Okay. Two, you would probably benefit very much from a therapist who specializes in this field, in that field. Okay, we're not talking about CSAT, we're not talking about me. We're talking about someone who specializes in sexuality and intimacy, helping couples who are struggling in that area. The second thing is to understand that it is a process that takes some time. You're not going to just, go talk to somebody once or twice and go and be sexual, and feel comfortable with it. There's a thing called Senate exercises. If you're a man, do not go look it up, okay? Because there are some images that are a little troubling there. We don't want that. You have your partner look it up. And what that is just a very methodical process where you're walking step through step over a period of weeks, building up to a point where you ultimately wind up engaging in sexual relations. And the reason for it is one, to make each of you become more comfortable again with each other. But more importantly, what it does, it kind of guides you through so that you could better understand the importance of non-sexual touch and realize, oh my gosh, you know what? The body is loaded with erogenous zones, and it doesn't have to just be genitalia that we're looking at. All right. And so therefore we want to look and explore. And that's what these exercises are. They're exploring. And that's what you do without leading up to sex at some point. You go through it. It takes about 3 to 4 weeks to go through it. But when the time is okay, we're ready to do it, you are ready to do it. So again, I look through the sedate, but also find a therapist that specializes in sexuality and intimacy.
So I don't think I've ever put as many resources in the chat
I
in one
know people are
webinar,
going
but this
crazy
is
today.
so Sensei Focus Touch. We talk about that. It's Masters and Johnson and many CSAT trained therapists, and I have a list of therapists who are both.
Are they? Are there a lot of CSAT that are trained in this area?
No, I was to say that are trained that are both sex therapists and sex addiction
That's what
therapists.
that's what I'm asking you.
Yeah,
There,
yeah,
there.
there are a
Oh,
number. There have been, yeah, a lot of people are going back
I've
and getting trained
never
in that.
I've never met one that has done that.
I
Okay.
can give you a list. So yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah, so they are, so I think it's helpful to have that lens because a snippet, just sex therapists often don't take
Yeah.
the addiction into consideration. So you absolutely
No,
want people that understand all of this. And
sure.
we have healthy intimacy. It's a work group for men. Um, Doctors Bill and Ginger Burkall wrote a book on sexual reintegration. They are rewriting it because this was back in the day when it was codependent. So
Uh,
keep that. But they're doing an updated version. They don't have it yet. And then they did a podcast with Dr. Rob. So all of those can
uh,
be useful, on that. And my biggest thing is talk about it. Have
you,
communication. Well, what a thought, huh?
what a thought. But the thing about it is this, it can happen. It will happen.
Yeah.
You just have to put in some of the time and effort with the right people to guide you. So good. I'm so
Yes.
happy for you.
Is there a one page or online somewhere to show my husband what a partner in good recovery does, looks like, sounds like, acts? We have a webinar and I got ahead of this one. We did what real recovery is. We did
Yeah.
that one. I think it was March of this year, and I put the link specifically for that one is. But we unpacked what real recovery looks like, how you show up and all of that. But it's not a one pager. I mean, I, like
Why do we need a one pager?
I know because it's not
I
like, well, just check out
mean,
these boxes. It's like,
right.
here's, if you want the quickest version, the 12 steps, go read the 12 steps. That's how we, how it works is we do the 12 steps and then we start to make progress towards those things. But that would be the fastest version. But, and we talk about that in real recovery. So
So let me, good
please.
recovery. It is one, I own what I've done. Two, I'm committed. I'm committed to change. I don't know what change looks like. I don't know what change is. I don't know anything, but I'm committed because I never want to cause you the pain I caused you before. And two, I want to be a man of integrity. I want to be a man who transforms and that I am different than what I was. It's not just, oh, I don't do that anymore. No, that's not enough. It is the fact that I understand that being a man is about growth, ongoing, consistent growth, where I'm constantly learning what it means to be able to, again, open that window and to be able to have a servant's heart, to have a humble heart, okay, and to have a caring spirit, gentle spirit.
And we're talking about why this is not a quick fix. Real recovery takes 2 to 5 years of doing the right things,
Yeah,
practicing doing things differently, and
right.
integrating it into all areas of our life. If we just stop doing the problematic behaviors, that's abstinence, but that doesn't, we don't change. We
No,
can actually be nastier.
recovery's not
So
enough. That's what we say
yep.
all the time. But that's a good question. A good question.
Okay, the next one is a comment. He's been sober almost 5 years and emotionally doing better.
That's
That's and
I
that's what
like that. You
this
know
is.
what?
It's a journey.
It's
Yeah.
good for you folks to put some of these positive things
Yeah.
in here
Yeah.
because it allows everyone else to see, oh, there's hope. Okay, because again, I could sit here and share many stories. Tammy could share many stories where there's hope, but to hear it coming from you who've walked through it, and even though we've walked through it too, but to see that, I mean, that just lends a lot of um, credibility to the fact that what we're doing, it can work if people are committed to the process. So,
We did a webinar yesterday and we talked about doomsville versus having hope, and the
mm,
more you're focused on, like there's research, the more you're focused on all of the negative messaging and, whether it's social media or just all of the negative, versus, are you able to find some gratitude? Are you able to plug into some hope?
yeah,
Are you listening to positive recovery stories? It shifts things, like
it
it
does.
shifts what you're looking for, but also how you feel.
It helps you become emotionally regulated.
It does. It does. Okay. The next one. We started our recovery journey 15 years ago and did a lot of work as a couple. I have been the one who has been doing a lot of the personal recovery work. He's been doing some to heal from his porn addiction. He has been clean for 5 years, but still a lot of behavioral issues, shutting down, avoiding,
Yeah,
etc. Secrecy, toxic shame, and half truths have been an issue. We currently are in a year in-house separation onto healing. He's only willing to check in every month. I'm very anxious how to move forward. Wow, that's
and so
painful.
I'd be anxious if I was you too. He's only willing to check
I
in
know.
once a month. Now, I'm sure he has this wonderful story that he would tell me about why he doesn't do it, because every time we do it, she gets completely out of control and can't handle it and blah, 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 blah. Again, we go back to the idea that you can do the personal recovery work. Okay, now he's doing what he's doing. Okay, he's not really doing recovery work. All right, what he's done is how do I stop looking at porn work? All right, so if you've been clean for 5 years, okay, that's great, wonderful. But then again, all these other behavioral and no, I'm not even going to say it. But all these other behavioral issues no, I am going to say it. If I'm you and I'm seeing the same behaviors I've seen throughout the relationship, and he's sitting here and he's telling me, well, I'm not looking at porn anymore. I'm not sure I'm believing that. I mean, you need to see other changes that are going on. I hope he's clean. I hope that's it. But you know what? That's only part of what's happening here. And you shouldn't have to live with half truths, secrecy, avoiding. That to me, those are all behaviors that fall into the addictive behavior category. That's what they are. That's what we engage in. So if he's engaging with all of those, but he's not looking at porn, how do you know that that's even true? So and how to move forward? Uh, he he doesn't want to move forward for some reason. If he's only willing to do that check-in once a month, what that's saying to me is, I don't care if you're comfortable or not. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you feel safe or not. That's what that said. That's indirectly saying that. So I don't know how you move forward. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna be honest with you and open with you. He needs to wake up and either make a call. One, I don't want to be in this relationship any longer. Or two, I'm gonna be in it, which means I'm going to commit myself to recovery, not porn recovery. Recovery as a whole. Well, I wish you the best.
Bunch of things. I'm with Dr. Eddie. Like I had just said, we can be nasty. I was like, a we call it a dry drunk with alcohol. It's a dry drunk. And people are nastier often than they were
Yeah.
when they were drinking because they're not using their maladaptive coping mechanism. The porn is it's a maladaptive coping mechanism. It's a symptom. All of this other stuff is the problem. When I go to
Yeah.
my 12-step meetings, we talk about you know the behaviors, but we're talking about the ism. The ism is our problem, and guess what? That requires work. Yeah, I said earlier, no addict changes until the pain of change is less than the pain of staying the same. He's comfortable. You're dysregulated. I can read it, in here. It's like, he's not changing. He's not changing. He's in home separation. I got it. I only have to check in once a month. I can do what I want to do. I can lie. I can, I got this the way I want it, and he may or may not be looking at porn. Kind of irrelevant at that point. If that's the only thing he's not doing and everything else, or he may be doing something else. For you, partner, I put in the link for the boundaries work group. I can't stress that enough. Like you having healthy boundaries so that you stay regulated. And in-home separation is really hard to do. And I put the webinar that we did about that. Having a plan for this is how we're going to do it. And both of you agree. If you don't agree to just a once a month check-in, that would be like,
Right.
what do you really need? What is the goal? What are you looking to see him do to check off boxes? Otherwise, 5 years from now, you could be in an in-home separation writing the same email.
Now, yeah, well, we will look at, it's been what, 5 years, right? It's been
Five
clean for
years.
five, been 15.
Well, he,
Yeah,
he says
15.
he's been 5 years, he's been not using
Yeah,
porn, but all of this other stuff.
right. But
So
15 years, that's a long time.
it
So,
is a long time. So I'm advocating for you. He's choosing. I say all the time too, nothing changes if nothing changes. You literally can have this stay for more years. And if
yeah,
you're okay with it, that's completely fine. But I don't
right.
hear that in what you're sharing.
No.
And so I'm
And
advocating for
you
you.
you may also even want to look at doing some of your own inner child work. Dude, that's what we were talking about. That was that
Yeah.
special program we did last week. Well, no, on Monday we did it. No, last week, doesn't matter. But
It's
you
the
may want
22nd. But
okay,
it
so
was
you might,
recently.
yeah, recently. But you may want to look at doing your own inner child work too. So,
Yeah, yeah, and this does not feel like there's qualified professionals involved in this. This feels like a do-it-yourself. We're
She
sharing
is
the
doing,
house.
she said she is doing her inner child work. Good, good.
Oh,
She had a
good.
follow
Okay.
up.
Oh,
Excellent.
good. Yeah. Oh, good. Excellent. Yeah. Healthy boundaries. Get help for you. Betrayed partner, 10 months since D-Day. My husband is working on sharing his emotions and thoughts. A lot of times he says he's building resentment towards me. Are there techniques, classes, etc., to help him not building resentment so easily? I feel like resentment's led to acting out and terrified it will happen again every time he says he has his resentments are building again.
Right. Okay. So this is a very delicate topic. And again, not having all the detail. Yes, do some men have some resentments? And again, this becomes the entitled child that I identified. So therefore, I deserve this because this person or the circumstance made my life difficult or and such. But I don't like what I hear here because it sounds like he's blaming you for what he's doing and going out to, well, if I keep building resentment, I'll probably act out again. It's going to be your fault. Um, the thing about resentment, if he's building resentment toward you, what he's doing, whatever is going on between the two of you, he's not looking at your pain. He's only looking at his pain. It's all about him. He strikes me as, again, just based on this little blurb you gave us, someone who's too inwardly focused. And I would imagine he's been able to build resentments against many people over the years, which means that he's not very open-minded, not very forgiving, and he looks at it more and he gets offended very easily. He needs to learn to tame that sense of offense because a lot of times what he's probably doing is making assumptions. And they're erroneous, most likely. Need to be able to back up, and to be able to say, okay, and ask questions when it feels this resentment coming on, to be curious, or say, okay, I feel like you're asking way too much of me here. Can you tell me, is that what is it they really need? Because frankly, when you get the idea of resentments and guys building resentment, and again, I've heard it before, most of they're just bad excuses. Just a bad excuse. Okay? Just because you have resentment doesn't mean you need to go and act out. You need to resolve it. Resolve. So therefore now you are in a place where you are terrified that it's gonna happen again because he's just thrown the resentment word over your head. And that's probably, I would imagine, shutting you down somewhat. Oh, I don't want to push him. I don't want to. So, I mean, it could be like a game that's going on. Now, I don't know. I could be off on everything I just said, but I don't think I am. I think there's something there, but I mean, he needs to do his work on learning not to be resentful.
Okay. So I'm with Dr. Eddie 100%. Like, what a great shutdown. Like, oh, I'm getting a resentment against you. That's called blame shifting, gaslighting. We did a webinar on demystifying gaslighting. And I'm like, oh, this is like check, 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 and yes, it's distancing. He can push you away by like, you know, you're making me get a resentment. Guess what? I'm responsible. And I was thinking, I bet it's his inner boundaries. I bet he's violating his inner boundaries, and he's not attending to those. I had a situation. Well, it was Dr. Rob. Dr. Rob and I were on the phone. I was running late to go to the gym, and I said I need to leave, and I didn't say I need to leave and I'm going to hang up now. And I was annoyed the whole way to the gym, and it wasn't Dr. Rob. It was me. I was mad at myself because I didn't hold my inner boundary. I don't like being late, so it was me I was mad at. Now, it would be easy to say I'm resentful of Dr. Rob. I
Uh,
wasn't. I was mad at
Right.
myself. And I just said to him in a text, I said, in the future, when I need to leave, I'm going to say, I'm going to need to leave in 2 minutes, and then I'm going to hang up and we can continue the conversation. And he said, yep. So yeah, like it wasn't
Right.
about him, it was about me. So this is a whole bunch of gaslighting and blame shifting and not taking responsibility. Further, that would be opportunities for him to talk to his sponsor of I'm feeling resentments. Guess what? In our 4-step, we write a whole list of our resentments and then we unpack them and we're looking at all of those. You know, this is not about you, but I bet that that's a really good way for him to push you away. It would
Right.
be fascinating to me to say, I hear you having a resentment, and what are you doing to take care of that resentment? Push it back on him. You
Hmm.
know,
Right.
it's not your responsibility. Please, we talk about addicts not taking on, the emotional stuff. Uh, Really hard to do, but I would invite you to go, yep, I use the not my circus, not my problem,
Mm.
and it's good for me to look at my behaviors. And if there's actually something that, is that I am responsible for, I'll take ownership of that. But if he's getting a resentment for you because of whatever, that would be up for him to take responsibility for. So for you, really strong boundaries of like, I will take ownership for what I am responsible for, but I'm not going to take on we say no, nothing you do or don't do as a partner is going to make somebody act out, and if and him using you as the reason he's getting a resentment, so
Mm.
therefore he goes and acts out, so addict thinking and not okay.
Yeah, and I can hear him now. I can, oh, but you don't understand. You don't know what she's like. She's so controlling. I mean, she just does, she's relentless. I mean, I feel like every time I'm around her, she just wants and wants and wants. She's like sucking the lifeblood out of me. And I can see all of it. And then it's like, all right, those are different issues. And I'm not saying that you're not, valid in being annoyed about maybe some of that, but that's not don't build up resentment. Instead, you go and you have work. You do work on that from a couple standpoint to say, if I'm going through my recovery, this is something that would help me if she would be able to do this, or not do that. So that might be something you want to consider. Do some couple work to get this stuff out. But you should not have the pressure of, oh, I got to be careful about what I say and what I do. That should not be something you have to carry.
Yeah. Yeah. And somebody said, could I post? Oh, okay. So what is your email for the 2 documents you say you can send us? So his email is in the chat. It's innerchildmodel@gmail.com. Yeah, so
And
you
I
should be able to
said,
click on it in the chat.
I said I would send the 20 emotional regulation techniques. What was the other document I said?
Email him and ask him for it. Be specific because we get lots of
Yeah,
emails and we want to make sure
yeah,
we're providing the right
right,
thing. So,
right.
and then
I don't.
somebody asked me about, can you post the resentment question? And I'm unclear what you're asking. So if you could just clarify for me what you're asking, that will help me.
I might have been the last question we were just dealing with. I
Okay.
don't know, but it was there. So,
Okay.
but I don't know what the second document was that I was going
So
to
be
yeah,
specific.
yeah.
Or you can so somebody asked about, will this be posted? Yes, it will, but not a list of types. It was a list of types.
When I was talking about the inner children, the 12 and the 10 different inner children types, if you want a list of that, then just email and say that what you like that, and I can send you a little blurb about each of
And
the
it's
kids.
also the books you will find here. I'm trying to put this in the chat. I think this seriously will be a record. So, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
that where you find the book.
We didn't get to the questions. I'll save them because there were some good ones in from the 22nd. So
Oh, we
we'll
haven't gotten to those yet.
we didn't even get to those and we're out of
Oh,
time.
okay.
So,
Oh, well, I'm going to have a topic, and we'll dive into those next. And then if other people have other questions, we'll do those. Okay.
okay. Thanks,
I'll
everyone.
see
Thanks,
you in
Dr. Eddie.
November.
All right,
Bye.
sounds good. Bye-bye.